I would like to recite a poem that I wrote for my daughter. Um, I'll try not to cry while I'm doing it. Um, it's about how she saved my life. I dedicate it to all the daughters in the room and those that we have lost to violence. I was wondering what I'd tell you the day you become a woman, the day you no longer need me to tie these pink ribbons in your hair. On that day, I will transform from the 50-foot tall warrior who slays monsters under your bed and pours paradise into every meal, into this woman that I am. And so I wrote this letter for you, dear future warriors. Yeah. God was generous the day he blessed me with you. It took 9 months to perfect bliss, and I know there's so much to learn, but I offer you this: own your body. Let every bend and twist inspire the world. Let all that see recognize, respect, and deserve your deeply feminine curves. You see, I know it's a hard lesson to learn, but remember this: what's in between your hips is just as important as what's in between your lips. Own your anger. Never fear what's left, for you were born with a warrior's soul, with strength as your shield, knowledge as your sword. Even good girls have to fight the revolution. Even good girls have to fight for evolution, and know your life may not be televised, but you will still shine like stars in my eyes. Own your words. Choose them carefully, one by one, like lovers. For a woman is only as good as the words she stands on, and words are only as good as the foundation they are built upon. You see, I know it's hard being born into a fatherless room, conceived in this fatherless womb, but baby, don't make it your tomb. You see, I can't teach you to be a woman like me, because I am only half the woman you will ever be, but I can teach you how to love the moon and stars, how to love words like I love you. But you must choose your own words, write your own stories, tell your own truths, and one day you'll have your own stories to share. But for right now, baby, I just want to hold you close and tie these pink ribbons in your hair. Thank you.
Microphone check 1 2. Microphone check 1 2. If you can hear me, please let me know. Put a 1 in the chat. We're about to get this party started. It's not going to be too long of a live tonight because I got things to do. It's been a productive week, though. I'll tell you that. It's been a very productive week. And so, anyway, as you can see, I have something up on the screen. And this is by Lexus Exodus. I don't know if you know who she is or not, but it really caught my attention. And it says, Black women were never freed. Fast facts. And it started to hit right when I was working with, my team to produce this show. And then I said, damn, you know something? That makes a lot of sense, especially when we're talking about pimp culture. See, ladies, I figured it out, or maybe y'all figured it out. Not now. I figured it out. Whoever knows, it's figured out that basically why men are so unhappy with you is because they are attempting to pimp you for whatever resources they can get from you. Okay. And a lot of you are not going for it, or begrudgingly going for it. And I said, and then I read this thing that said, what Lexus brought out. And I'm like, damn, when you think about it, that's a good point. That's a freaking good point. I mean, think about it. You've heard their speeches, right? Let me see if some, Okay, you've heard their speeches. Thank you, Ellen. You've heard their speeches. Fit, feminine, friendly, and submissive. Welcome, Susie. Welcome, Jizzy. Welcome, Ellen. Welcome, Oya. Welcome, Legs for Life, not for days. Not, I like Legs for Days. That's kind of cool too, really. But anyway, think about it. Think about it. It makes perfect sense. Black men want to be the oppressor now. In general, at least in the mindset of the men who follow in under the chocolate red pill brethren. I'm going to be specific just so we aren't generalizing here. The problem is there's a lot of men who embrace pimp culture because pimp culture and hip hop culture run hand in hand. They are literally the same. If you were to read, let me see if I can get a little extra light up in here. If you were to read, okay, one of the things that rappers rap about the most, it's control, it's exploiting women, and pimping hoes. All the way back. Remember Snoop Dogg? We do remember Snoop Dogg, don't we? So let's think about this. Let's think about this. So basically, I believe a lot of black in our defense, we do it unconsciously, but we are trying to pimp black women. We are. Think about it. You want a woman to be fit, feminine, friendly, and submissive, right? That's not a relationship. That's something you want. Notice how notice how the only thing that Kevin Samuels ever told men to offer women was money. Think about it. Money. Not loyalty, not character, not support, not the kind of support that women really want. Okay? So yeah, I thought that was Alexis did her thing with that. You might want to listen to the live stream. You never know. It's only a day old. Okay, so it came out yesterday. Let's go into the first pimp of the night. First of all, let's go over what sex trafficking is real quick. Here we go.
Hey, by the way, many of us have heard that term, sex trafficking, but what does that actually mean? Well, tonight we're going to break down what it means to help you understand and why.
Let me pause it right there for 1 second. How does it sound out there? Let me know if the video volume is at on point. I want to make sure everybody can hear every word. Susie Bear breaks it down like this. I was considered a weird black girl when it came to other black people in school because I did not like these disgusting rappers. Their lyrics were too much. Their mindsets were too much. Bars. No, rappers are nobody can argue that rappers, one of their idols is pimps. Okay, let me know if the volume is on point. I'm going to wait a second because I want to make sure you guys can hear it. While you do that, I'm going to just make some adjustments over here. Take my time tonight. All right. All right. Well, I'll assume that it is. Okay, hold on. Let me give it a little more volume here just in case. Here we go.
Actually care.
Americans care a lot about money. We talk about jobs and taxes and paychecks, but here's what we don't talk about. Right here in the United States, there is a thriving underground economy based on selling children for sex. If sex sells, then business is good. Look at all the money. It was almost $1 billion in this study. But these dirty profits come at a huge cost. This is how sex traffickers do business. It's about supply and demand. First, they need someone to sell. Traffickers target children in their own homes. They find them by combing through social media profiles looking to spark a conversation. The trafficker targets preteens and teens by finding an end, something to bond over and earn their trust. It could be the promise of a modeling career. They might buy them drugs or alcohol, or provide protection from an already dangerous situation at home. Traffickers gain psychological control and use violent threats to force victims to stay. Once the child is isolated from family and friends, the trafficker puts them up for sale. This is where the demand comes in. Traffickers use internet sites to connect with buyers or Johns, but calling them Johns is too polite. They are abusers. They are purchasing kids for sex. So who are these buyers? Court records show they've been teachers, pastors, cops, and judges. They could be the guy next door. The trafficker gets the money. The buyer gets sex. The child victim gets exploited and sold. So how is this different from prostitution, pornography, or other sexual acts? These victims are minors. Legally, they cannot consent. This isn't the movies. It's not like Pretty Woman or Taken. Richard Gere is not the buyer. Liam Neeson isn't there to save the day. This is sexual exploitation. This is trafficking. This is modern day slavery. It's selling girls.
You know, we spent months looking into sex trafficking as part of our Selling Girls investigation. And you can hear a lot of these stories from those who survived and learn more about the warning signs right now on 11 Alive Plus. So 11 Alive Plus is our 24/7 news app on Roku and Fire TV. You can download it for free on your TV right now.
Uncovering a
Okay,
disturbing
let me pause it right there. So one thing they failed to mention in the video that we just saw was the fact that traffickers are glamorized. They're glamorized. Let me break it down like this.
The FBI showed up this morning on boats at around 10:30 in the morning, a team searching his island, even though accused sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein is dead and the federal trial against him will never happen.
On August 12th, 2019, just 2 days after Jeffrey Epstein was found dead in his cell, the FBI raided Little St. James Island. The island, which was used by the billionaire for disturbing activities, was turned upside down by the feds, and now some rare photos that may shock you have surfaced on the internet. Let's find out what the feds unearthed. The FBI raid. In a stunning turn of events, the FBI conducted a raid on Jeffrey Epstein's private island known as Little St. James in the Caribbean. This raid came just 2 days after Epstein's mysterious death in a New York City jail cell, where he was being held on charges of child sex trafficking. The FBI agents arrived on the island, armed with a mission to uncover any evidence that may shed light on Epstein's alleged crimes. As the agents stepped onto the island's shores, they were met with a sense of anticipation and curiosity. Little did they know what they would uncover in the depths of Epstein's private paradise. The raid was part of a search directed by the Epstein Task Force, led by the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York. This task force was determined to leave no stone unturned in their pursuit of justice. The agents, equipped with the latest technology and expertise, meticulously combed through.
Basically, let's say, let me shorten this for you. They basically went over there And this is what they found.
Removal. These electronic devices held the potential to unlock the secrets of Epstein's dark empire. The FBI probe aimed to extract every bit of information from these
So
photos that the feds got
if you
their
don't know already, Epstein was a trafficker. Basically, sold young girls without their will, without not wanting to do that. If you notice, that's his accomplice. There's one of the little girls there. This is where they kept them. Look at that. Looks like a prison, doesn't it? Looks like a freaking prison.
dependence on the abusers. To maintain a steady supply of victims, Maxwell and Epstein also resorted to paying certain victims to recruit additional girls. This disturbing tactic allowed them to create a network of underage victims, ensuring a constant stream of individuals to exploit. The details of Maxwell's involvement in Epstein's abuse network are nothing short of shocking. Her active participation in the grooming and exploitation.
And see, this was able to go on for a long time because of support from creeps. Look who was there. Look, check this out. Where are you at? Yeah, famous guys too. Look at that. Look at all those victims. They're lucky they got out alive because some young ladies didn't. What does Epstein have to do with the red pill, though, Well, let me go right here.
Involved. It was alleged that Epstein had a vast network of influential individuals who were complicit in his illegal activity.
Look at that.
Involved. It was alleged that Epstein had a vast network of influential individuals who were complicit in his illegal.
Yeah. The red pill's going to vote him in next month or whenever that is. They're going to vote him in. That's interesting. Let me get back up on the screen. Yeah. You know who else was straight pimping? You know who else was straight pimping? Let's find out right now.
Prosecutors in Romania have filed formal charges against the controversial influencer Andrew Tate, his brother Tristan, and two.
Manosphere extraordinaire Andrew Tate. Well, how about that? Brothers love them some Andrew Tate. In the House, Indiana Mom, Jizzy B, Legs for Life, Marcy D, Ellen Ripley, Susie Bear, Mistress Newbie. Good seeing you, Mrs. Newbie. We got a full house going on. And Terminador Negro. Yeah, let's hear about influencer who, by the way, influenced the manosphere. Okay, is a manosphere influencer. Let's see what he's going to say.
Romanian associates. The charges include rape, human trafficking, and forming an organized crime group, as well as illegally accessing a computer system and violence against one of the alleged victims.
Wow. Wow, a manosphere hero. They still love him to this day. Yes, they still love him to this day. To this day, he is their hero, which tells you a lot about the manosphere.
The indictment deposited with the Bucharest court says that at the beginning of 2021, the four defendants formed an organized criminal group to commit human trafficking in Romania, but also in other countries such as the United States and Britain. Our correspondent in Bucharest, Lucy Williamson, gave us the latest on today's charges and the background to the case.
This investigation has taken 6 months to complete. They have been in detention or under house arrest for all that time. And Romania's organised crime unit have come out with a statement this morning which outlines some of the information that led to this indictment. As you outlined there, we know the main charges that are being filed. We know there are 7 alleged victims who are allegedly recruited by false promises of love and marriage by the 2 Tate brothers. And it does seem to be quite a wide-ranging set of charges. The charge of human trafficking is an umbrella charge, and within that there are several counts against each of the 4 defendants. We're also getting some information from the organised crime unit about the assets that have been seized, properties, cars, luxury watches, but also more than $300 million in cryptocurrency. And we're told that there are separate charges that are still under investigation that may be the subject.
Yeah, big pimping, big pimping, big pimping. Wow, that's crazy. Big pimping. And the manosphere loves these guys. They love all of them. All of them.
I think younger women tend to be more impressionable. I think older women, you know, in my experience, you 30, 33, 35, the experiences that you have at that point is just, you know, a little bit too much for me. And I really think in some cases you really can't teach an old dog new tricks. So I prefer, you know, my women to be of the younger variety.
If a woman wants to respect you and give you the respect to lead and be her partner, why do you need to have that level of power over her if you're not trying to manipulate someone?
See, it's not power, it's impressionable. I've never.
He's manipulating, but let's keep it going. Let's keep it going right now.
Seen a successful partnership where the other person wouldn't allow themselves to be impressed upon.
That's stupid and wrong. He's basically a pimp himself. He learned the pimp game. He needs control.
If I'm a person and I got a vision, I got a plan, I got a whole program, I would think that the person that wants to be with me is willing to learn and willing to adopt some of the ways, of even some of the.
The problem is that he's probably not as intelligent as most of the women that are quality women that he might want to date. So they have nothing to learn from him. The problem, what he wants is a child. Women are not supposed to, grown women are not supposed to learn from grown men. You're supposed to find the best match, the best person for you and for both of you and go from there. But he just wants to control. And that's why he's saying that this control shit.
And willing to adopt some of the ways, of even some of the principles that I have.
That's not impressionable.
No, he's not. See, notice this.
Some of the ways, of even some of the principles.
Adopt, or what is there to adopt? What is there to adopt? What he wants is a robot. This is pimpology right here. This is pimpology right here. Oh, it's going to get deep too. Yeah, Marcy D, the dude is a straight up creep.
That I have.
That's not impressionable. Impressionable is basically getting someone to do what you want them to do because they're easily swayed and easily persuaded to do what you want them to do.
Who said that? Did you make that up?
Well, I
like when you
no, that's what it is, dude. And then he digs a deeper hole for himself here. This is the good part. He digs a deeper hole for himself here.
Somebody, you look for somebody that's impressionable.
But
why would I listen?
Right, so you even train them.
Right. Exactly. See, he's looking for somebody to manipulate, which pimps love to do. They love to manipulate. So the bottom line is that what he's trying to do is he's so convinced on manipulating women that he thinks that that's the way it's supposed to be. Indiana Mom breaks it down just like this. 1 in 4 Black girls will be sex abused before 18. 1 in 5 Black women are survivors of rape. 35% of Black women experience sex volume in their lifetime. 40 to 60 of Black women report coercive sex by age 18. And this man is one of those creeps. He's definitely one of those creeps. Here we go.
So you can, when you hire somebody, you're about to train them.
Now,
And that's why you want them impressionable.
She got him. She got him. So what I showed that clip because I wanted you to see the pimp culture at its worst and best. He doesn't want a relationship. He wants control. Susie Bear says this about Andrew Tate. Of course, Black men love him. He's a degenerate, a grape-pissed, and of course they're gonna come with everyone's lying on a Black man BS bars. BS mixed race men are only Black when they are D. Yeah. However, let a mixed race man check a Black man over disrespecting a Black woman, right? All of a sudden, they are not Black bars. They need to be quiet on black matters. Exactly. Jizzy, break it down. Most girls during the 90s and early 2000s had babies by older 90s dope. Yep. 90s dope dealers. So it was hard for young men to date childless women. They age. Yeah, you made a lot of, they were literally and I'm glad you said this, Jizzy. I'm glad you broke it down, and I'll tell you why. There's a myth in the manosphere that a lot of the baby mamas, as they call them these days, were like from grown women. But you are right. They're usually were younger little girls below like 18. That older men above 20, okay, above 30, above 40 were making pregnant, some of which were their own fathers. That's the crazy part. I'm glad you brought that up. Way to go. Let's play a little bit more here. So I just wanted to show you how that works. Here's an ex-pimp.
Most of the people who approach me, like in the pimp game, they're not asking how to be pimps. They mostly come to me about how to approach women using body language. So I said, you have to understand, a lot of married guys can't wake their wives up to get them a tuna fish sandwich. What do you think I say to a woman in 30 seconds to make her want to sell her body on the corner for me for 12 hours? I said, it's certain power in language in this you use. But when I teach guys this, I don't teach them so that they can go out and do that. I teach them so that they can be the guy at the bar. I said, I'm 5'7", and I don't think I'm the most handsomest man in the world. Watch me leave with all the women in this party, and it won't take me 5 minutes. I said, see that girl over there? Because most of my women are 6 feet and over because I have this obsession with tall women. I said, you can get her. I said, watch this. And I just come lean in her ear, and all of a sudden she grabs her purse, and I said, it's that easy. I said, you just don't know what to say, when to say, how to say it. You haven't been watching her body language. You haven't been watching her movements. You didn't watch how many times her eyes dipped down and came back up. You know, things like that. I said, you don't know what to say. And that's what I was, that's what I usually instruct guys to. When they say, you're teaching me how to pimp, I said, no, I'm not. I'm teaching them how to have one brain submit to the will of theirs. Now, that can be on the job. That can be used parentally. We do it with our children every day. How do you get this kid to clean his room who wants to play his PlayStation? Well, there are certain things you can say. It doesn't have to be threats. If you can't outsmart a 4-year-old, you really need to go back to school.
Yeah.
But there's things you can say to make that child, wow.
Mhm.
And next thing you know, they're doing their homework. I said, so you can take these skills anywhere, but that's something you really don't know at 19, 20, 21. You figure you can only use those skills in one place.
So this is like the carrot and not the stick, right? When it comes to control and influence.
Well, that depends on that particular technique.
Okay.
I have
right there. So basically, they're using techniques on you, ladies. Instead of organically finding the right person for you, they're talking about manipulating, running through, whatever you want to call it. That's what's going down. That's what's going down. Check this out.
Iceberg Slim is the name that is synonymous.
Iceberg Slim, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to play that clip for very long because it's owned by a large company. You know how they get. Yeah. I will show you Snoop Dogg. Why am I showing you Snoop Dogg? Well, you know, I mean, really, quite honestly, when you think about it, the pimp mantra back in the 90s, when it came to hip hop, he was one of the pioneers of that. You know, he's so cool. He's so cool. Well, check this out.
Well, yet another controversy for the NFL tonight. Just days before he is set to perform at the Super Bowl halftime show, rapper Snoop Dogg is facing some new allegations of sexual assault and battery. The alleged victim filing a lawsuit in a California court. News Nation correspondent Alex Capriello is live outside of SoFi Stadium. So, Alex, what can you tell us about these accusations?
Oh, shit. I mean, everybody loves Snoop. Everybody loves Snoop. Everybody loves Snoop. I mean,
Well, these accusations made against Snoop Dogg describe the 50-year-old rapper as a longtime predator, one who would promise jobs to some of his background dancers in return for sexual favors.
Oh my God. Oh man, look. This is the last thing I would want to hear. This would be the last thing I would want to hear about Snoop because I was a Snoop fan. I thought I liked his rap style and everything. But when I started opening my eyes, shit falls out.
Just days before Super Bowl 56, damning accusations were levied against one of the biggest performers on Sunday, rapper Snoop Dogg. In a 33-page lawsuit filed in the Los Angeles federal court, one anonymous woman, identified as a backup dancer, claims she was assaulted, battered, and forced to perform oral sex on the rapper nearly a decade ago. The lawsuit details the...
Wow. Welcome, Hustler and Muscular. So if you guys believe this lawsuit, if you believe this lawsuit is legit, if you believe the lawsuit is legit, go ahead and put a 1 in the chat. I'll wait. I'm going to wait on this because I need to soak this in. I haven't played this clip to myself either. So I'm a little bit in shock myself. I don't know. I don't know how I missed this. Dang. Yeah, and Snoop hangs around with pimps. Yeah, Snoop Dogg.
The incident from 2013, claiming Snoop Dogg trapped the woman in a bathroom and forced himself on her. Because she was unwilling to engage, the lawsuit claims Snoop Dogg wouldn't hire her for future jobs. Snoop hasn't responded to News Nation's request for...
This sounds like some Diddy shit. Man. Man.
But just days ago, moments after a closed-door attempt to sort through the allegations with the woman, he posted this on Instagram. Gold digger season is here. Keep your guards up and keep your circle small.
So he never said it wasn't true. That's the problem. Welcome, unknown. That's the problem I have is, dude, if that's true, you're a creep. I love all your beats. In fact, I mean, Drop it while it's hot. Oh my God, that used to be my beat. I used to remix that left and right. Man, now I don't see it the same way anymore. Jeez. Man.
Now, the big question is whether or not Snoop Dogg is going to be allowed to continue to perform for the Pepsi Super Bowl halftime show. We reached out to Pepsi and the NFL asking that exact question. We haven't heard back yet. Nicole.
Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below.
Man. Man, this is crazy. P. Diddy, Snoop. I mean, who? I mean, it gets to the point where you wonder who hasn't in the rap game, who hasn't done anything. We look at Chris Brown. What? Blueface is in jail. Who knows what else he did? Shoot. Elvieto Perez says this. I can't believe it. That money and video vixens, prostitutes willing to do anything for a little change why would you grape anyone? And Puffy don't love women at all. Yeah, Puffy loves men. It's crazy. Yep. Indiana Mom, you're right. Birds of a feather. Marcy D. Yep. Indiana Mom, I'm sorry you had to endure that. I didn't have any production. It started when I was 3 until I was 8. It didn't stop until my mom divorced him. Oh, man. And we want respect. Okay. Okay. Let's get back into this. Let me fast forward it. Here we go. All old school and everything. Welcome, Rat Girl. The Rat Girl's in the house. Let me switch up a little bit.
The street girl has great heart and hardihood. She has to because of the hazards in the street. The call girl is usually some brittle kitten who wants to be pampered. And she, of course, prefers the gigolo type fellow who accepts a portion of the money and who does not really control his woman. Holding a stable together requires the pimp to keep each individual member of the stable in apparent competition. The competitive spirit in women, particularly prostitutes, is extremely high.
They're making so many unnecessary changes, girl. I am so tired and worn out. But you ain't through for the night yet, is you? You think so, huh? Run your mouth. Yeah, I know so. Okay. I know so. Okay, you know you ain't by yourself. All right. All right. I'm speaking for myself right now. Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. That's right. You got that right. I thought you had it once today. You got a lot to learn. Don't worry about it. Well, I ain't got nothing to say, my friend. I got a long way to go and much more to do. Listen, I got a long way to go and much more to do, but it ain't gonna be done tonight. But y'all that fat mouth. I'm sick of Mabel. It's me that's talking to you. Scared to talk to me? Look, why don't we just look at the window or something? Here. I'm tired.
This is what the manosphere wants right here. Control over multiple women. Kevin Samuels himself said that he had a rotation of 6 women.
I'm disgusted. I just don't, all of us, honey, all of us. Well, I don't know. Hey, where you going? I'll be back, honey.
That's what they want to do. That's why they got so mad at the Roe. Because they thought the guy had a right to do that.
When I asked you a question, you answer.
The men want women that are fit, feminine, friendly, cooperative, submissive. I don't mind being
fit, friendly, and submissive. Now, I'm not sure if he's describing an obedient slave or he just lost in the sauce of them 1920 gender roles. On my mama, like 95% of the content I came across some dude is him talking to women just like that right there. Very demoralizing, very demeaning, and very devaluing. One time.
You see what I mean? DJ Torch put it in the mix here. Notice the similarities. It's feminine and friendly. Get up. That's what he's doing.
When I asked you a question, you answer.
They not messing with y'all, so y'all just get off my case. Hey, I heard about a new game. Let's play it. It's called Silence. Shut up. I bet you had your She thinks she's really cute up there. How she done had her. See where I'm sitting, baby.
The life of a pimp is unremitting tension and pressures. A pimp lives on the precipice of disaster. I think he's the most hated and feared creature of the underworld because of his the sexual aspects of his profession.
you all gonna be through if you don't be quiet.
See, this is what they want. They want control. Mr. Snoopy breaks it down like this. That is why I hate when black men say black women need to choose better. Exactly. So we should have chose better when male relatives and spouses were SAing and graping us. Bars. It wasn't just boyfriends and baby daddies. Bars. Hustler and Muscular says this. It was proven that Rhoda was never hit with a brick. Instead, she was hit with a water bottle. Hustler Muscular, good point. I believe it's not proven because haven't seen any video. I don't know if you have, but I haven't. But we do know that she was hit. I think it's like, it's funny because I think people are making a big deal about that, Hustler Muscular, and I'll tell you why. If you are hit by an object, you are hit by an object. You know, think about it like this. You're probably saying, well, a brick is more, is more dangerous, right? I would agree with that. But thinking about it like this. A boxer can knock somebody out with boxing gloves on. With gloves that are fluffy, right? 10 weight, 8 weight, whatever they call them. Puffy gloves. We've even seen people get knocked out who were wearing the puffy helmets as well. So what you should be more concerned about, Hustler Muscular, is the fact that he did hit her. And the fact that we haven't seen the footage yet of her seemingly slapping him, and we still don't know why she slapped him. So that's what we should think about. Is I know it's everybody's like, wow, it wasn't a brick, it wasn't a brick. Okay, how about this? How about if you pew me with a, let's say I say you pewed me with a shotgun, but it turns out to just be a rifle, right? What's the difference? At the end of the day, what's the difference? Shooting, pewing somebody and hitting somebody, whether the tool was a little bit different, really doesn't matter at the end of the day. Now, I know that both, believe it or not, both people, to me, her and him, I got more questions for. But if you were to look at the end of the day, think about it at the end of the day, she displayed more receipts than he did. And secondly, he had 2 witnesses in the car who saw the whole thing. Not one of them came out in his defense. You have to ask yourself is why did that not happen? Then Hustler and Muscular says this: what makes you think that the manosphere wants to dominate and control women? That's there are so many reasons, Hustler and Muscular. Number one, a lot of the complaints that come out on the channel, your friend's channel for one, okay, Kevin's channel for two. The fact we've had actually men come on this channel and out admit that's what they want is control. Kevin wants control. He made it clear he wants to control. It's exactly what men want. They want to control women. Just because they don't, Hustler Muscular, just because somebody doesn't say, I want to dominate and control men, doesn't mean they don't want to dominate and control women. They'll say things or make phrases that come to the conclusion they want control. Wanting a submissive anyone, woman, dog, bird, plant, submission means being controlled. I'm glad you brought that up. That's important for this pimpology. Let me go into the definition of submission. Submission, which you've heard is a battle cry for the manosphere, correct? This is it. The action or fact of accepting or yielding to superior force or to be the will or authority of another person. That doesn't sound like you know how Kevin Samuels would say something like, well, it's not a good deal. This ain't a good deal for women right here. You know who submitted? Remember Diddy? Those women submitted to him. You saw where it got them. You saw where it got them. It got them more punishment. They were literally being the pick-me's and all that kind of stuff the manosphere loves. And those women got beat up, the S beat out of them all day, every day. Sometimes on Sundays, they went to the winery and got GRAPED'd. That's the funny thing, Hustler. Isn't it weird that the more the women submit, the more damage the women get? Then later on, when they tell you their story, the manosphere then turns around and goes, well, you should have chose better. Kevin did much of the same thing. That's why he's divorced. His wife just got out before it got bad. Anyway, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you did. Everybody, we see the submission. Here we go.
I became a pimp primarily because of the influence of well-heeled pimps and other hustlers during a period of dire poverty in my life. And I feel that I was influenced by the flashy glamour, the infestation of diamonds on these hustlers, and also by their big flashy cars. And I wanted a sense of importance.
Isn't that what all black men want these days? Isn't it what we want these days? Flashy cars, jewelry. Susie Bear breaks it down like this. Yeah, black women should have chose better. Or I like it when dumb people say you attract certain people to you. Yeah. How do children attract being harmed and abused? It's always some flawed individual.
And I was a pimp for about 25, 30 years. When I first got to Chicago, I had this wild dream of picking the brain of the town's top pimp, and eventually I did. In retrospect, now I suppose I could say that.
Rat Girl breaks it down like this. The black community always protect predators. Yep. Blame the victims. Yep. That's what we do. That's where the snitch theory came in. That's where it was, oh yeah, you a snitch. Oh yeah, you a snitch. Whenever there was abuse going on, I mean, they weren't see, the funny thing is this, they weren't berating people for snitching on, other cultures of people. I mean, they were berating black men for snitching on black men who were causing crimes. That's where snitch came from. Here we go.
That I wanted to be like God for a horse, you see. And my total image of myself was that I was some sort of black, evil Swingali. My image among my contemporaries and fellow pimps and among whores was that.
Exactly. It looks like we're still digging into this. I might have to do another live stream. Hustler Muscle says this. The man was interviewed and said that he hit her. Okay, I guess he heard the word water bottle because she hit him first. Huh? Wait, maybe that's wrong. But anyway, Indiana Mom cleans it up. He admitted hitting her. One, yep. The medical records show injuries. She was bleeding from her eardrum. So Hustler, it doesn't matter what he hit her with. He hit her hard enough that she bled from her eardrums. And you and I both know that if a man is bleeding from his eardrum, he was hit pretty freaking hard. So she was hit pretty freaking hard. But I mean, I like the debate. Maybe we'll go over it on another live stream. But it's clear. I don't see. It's like let's say it like this. I could tell you I was hit by a truck, or I could tell you I was hit by a Porsche. The bottom line is I was hit. I was struck. So I do understand what you're saying. I mean, where you're coming from, Hustler. And it's very frustrating to me that people don't understand that it doesn't make it any less of an assault to hit a woman, whether it is with a brick or with a water bottle. He hit her with enough force that her ears bled, at least one. That's pretty freaking hard. Would the brick be more effective? Oh, absolutely. I would go as far as to say, because it's got sharp edges, it's a harder surface than maybe, a flattened water bottle. Who knows what condition the water bottle was in, or whether it was even it might have been glass. If it was a glass water bottle, then damn, that's close to being the same as a brick. Bottom line is he hit her hard enough that her ears bled. The doctor didn't put blood in her ear and say, oh, look, I'm gonna make this look bad. I'm gonna make this look like it's more than it is. She was hit hard enough that she bled through one side of the ear. On one ear, the side that obviously she was hit on. Dude couldn't even remember what side of the face he hit her on. That's the funny part. And that's why I'm convinced it has not, because people were saying, well, saline and this and that. And I'm not going to say that's absolutely not true, but I'm going to say, well, I don't know if saline can make you bleed from one side of your ear. And I heard this on Tanya's show, and I heard it on a couple other shows. It's like, well, that blows out the saline thing right there if she's bleeding from the ear. You saw how dude Pimp slapped her, right? Slapped her down to the ground with his bare hand. And that's why I don't get it. Why does people think that, wow, well, you didn't get hit by a brick? Well, she got hit by her ears saying she got hit by something as hard as a brick. So that's the weird part. Let me keep it going.
I had class.
Okay, meet me at 55th and Cottage Grove in about 10 minutes, okay? Okay.
What he feels that you're suffering.
And what do I do besides suffer?
Or you have your studies at UCLA.
24 hours a day, Dad?
Darling, get involved. Find something outside of your own problems to worry about, something important, something worthwhile. What you need is to feel that you're making a real...
Don't you have to meet a trick in 5 minutes?
I'll make it.
Marcy D says this, DJ Torch, he's just being disagreeable. He doesn't want to understand, just wants to be right. It seems that's where he's going. That seems like where he's going.
Contribution to world peace by serving through the United Nations. As ambassador to the United Nations, I'm recruiting potential peace heroes.
Mabel, you're going to miss that trick if you don't get moving.
Your strong body.
The trick ain't going nowhere, Daddy. Don't worry about it, okay?
Do the greatest job ever attempted by man. Now the future is in your hands. What?
Here we go.
You've just heard an address by Ambassador John Post, representative to the United Nations.
Here he goes. Oh, dude. See? That's what they all want to do. That's all they all want to do. That's why a lot of the manosphere, they don't like educated women, because they know educated women can just walk right out the door. Walk right out the door. And that's what happens. That's where the 80% comes from, because they're like, okay, well, I'm not taking this. I'm out. You see what happens to the young ladies who stay in the mix. They end up on our Sunday show. That's what happens. That's exactly what happens. Let me keep it going.
Pimps who commit violence on whores or the stable are suffering from insecurity. He's lost his power over that particular girl in the stable. The dumbest broad will take advantage of that. Normally, a pimp doesn't develop paranoia until after he's had lots of track action. By that I mean lots of mileage with whores. He gets to the point where he believes whores are so devious and so cunning because he's copped and he's blown so many that
Isn't that how the manosphere speaks about black women? Deceitful, cunning. I see that all the time on a certain channel, all the time. That it's the same. The manosphere, the hip hop, pimping. It ain't easy. And it's all the same.
His mind rots. And he himself has played so much card on those. He's lied to those so much that he doesn't know a lie from the truth.
Mabel, what's the matter, honey? I got to talk to you. It's cool. Baby, take care of me. Honey, Tina's sick. She got pains in her stomach or something, baby.
There ain't a in the world under 22 that gets sick. Don't you know that? Now get out of my face.
Like Kevin to me. That's why they loved Kevin Samuels. Because he talked to women like he was a pimp. Ask them. He talked to women like he talked to women like he was a pimp. That's what was going down.
Janella, she's really sick. I gotta honey, Tina's really sick. We gotta get a doctor, baby.
Bring her upstairs.
How's Tina?
He's going to beat the crap out of her. Oh my God. And the manosphere be loving they pimps. She passed away.
The pimp is an ill man, and I think he should be treated as an ill man and as a victim of this racist white society.
See, that's where the man thing came in, right? Oh, the man held me down. I couldn't pimp as hard as I wanted to. Man.
That makes possible his street poisoning, that makes possible the rotting inside his head. I think that what we need to do, if we deprive the pimp, and if young women can be dissuaded, you see, then the pimp is going to have to find some other way to make a living, like till tapping, or let him play the con on the white folks downtown, you know. If prostitution were legalized, that the top echelon pimps would do well because they'd have the experience and expertise necessary to organize and to open houses.
Let me pause it right there. I'm going to drop the link just in case anybody wants to come up. Here we go.
what it would do also, it would mean that recruitment would be much easier for pimps. It would mean that the hazards.
So the pimp theory is really just another form of slavery. It really is. So, and it's funny because these men that were doing it use words like, "Oh yeah, you know, we're being enslaved as black men and everything like that," but they're enslaving black women. That's how they made their money.
Now, when a pimp turns out a girl, he's got to turn out in the street, more or less. With the houses, you see, open and legal, it would mean that a girl wouldn't have to be put through the kind of comprehensive training that one must give a street girl. It would mean that pimps could just take a girl out of hypothetically, out of a restaurant today and this evening, and tomorrow she'd be working in the house, because all one need do is know how to lie.
The reality is, the statistics show that men are more loyal. We don't leave. 80% of divorce filings are by women.
80%?
80%.
That doesn't mean it. You see, what's funny is, you see a scam. You see how he had plenty of tricks. He had 1,000,005 tricks. They didn't realize that women were the majority of why women were getting divorced was because men. So he never looked into that part. Welcome, Gold Reflection. He never looked into that part. No, he did not. Big shout out to Ellen. Thank you. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going.
In our community, in black community, it's 80%. In the larger community, it's around 75%. So if you look at the fact that marriages, meaning offer to marry, almost 100% are initiated by men. Women control access to who has sex, and women have final say on who gets born. Men control access to relationships. If men are initiating marriages at 100% rate nearly, but divorces are initiated at a 75 to 80% rate.
Yeah, the women the women, decided they should have chose better. And most of them should have, especially if you hear the way men are talking about in our community, are talking about women in our community. Women made the right choice. That is crazy. Kevin Samuels, pimp. They love him for it. That's the crazy thing. They love him for it. They love him for having that pimp mentality, exploiting women, instead of trying to work on getting relationships together, which he hides behind. In reality, he said it himself out of his mouth. I can't say it enough. A rotation of women, even though he owed child support, didn't pay it for 10 years. Only paid it because it looked bad. That's all. That's the only reason. Because he knew that black women in general that came on the show would have a one-up on him because he was a deadbeat. Still is, still was, still passed away being one. Only reason his daughter's doing well now is because he left her alone. Papa was a Rolling Stone. Wherever he laid his hat was his home. When he died, all he left us was alone. That's what went down. Let's dip into another pimp. The manosphere loves. Here we go. Looks all old school too, huh?
I don't believe he's here yet.
Okay.
Your Honor, I also have a Gilmore matter. It's not a calendar call. It's a sentencing on page 11, if we could go forward with that.
State of Nevada versus Philip Gilmore, C2 44542. This is a date and time set for entry of judgment and imposition of sentencing. Sir, is there any legal cause or reason why judgment should not be pronounced against you at this time? Any reason why we should not proceed with sentencing, sir? By virtue of your pleas entered in this matter, I hereby adjudicate you guilty of count 1, pandering, and count 2, living from the earnings of a prostitute. The state wish to address the court?
Thank you, Your Honor. We do. First, the state has Jennifer Harper here. She was a victim of one of those cases. She was known as the state would request that she address the court last. I do additionally have a victim impact statement from her describing the injury she had with her this morning. Didn't get it back to the Department of Home Probation in time. Basically, what we're going to ask for is $200 for her counseling, as she's mentioned. And then we're going to ask for an additional $500 because most of Jennifer's items that she had
I'm going to fast forward. Hold on.
intercourse with her, and now their money. He's been in custody for 397 days, and rightfully so. There's a reason that he's been in jail. We're asking that he stay in. He preyed on this 14-year-old little girl and had intercourse with her. But what does he tell you is his main concern? Getting out so he can get on with his music career. That's what's important to this defendant.
Welcome to Sinful the P, Manosphere superstar.
Not fathering or supporting the child that he just had with his 14-year-old. All of those things together, Judge Warren, a 19 to 48 and a 12 to 30 consecutive. We think the probation recommendation by the division is wholly inappropriate in this case, and we're going to submit it on that.
You want to say anything, Mr. Gilmore?
First, I would like to say, for what she failed to mention was Ms. Lakeisha Jordan lied about her age with false identification, which she admits in the interview that she said she was 19. Not only did she lie about her age with false identification, and she admitted that, just cooperative statements along with Mrs. Harper.
Okay. What I've heard from many pimps in these videos, they know the age. They brag about knowing the age of everybody. Sinful right here is now trying to weasel out of it because he's saying that he didn't know. But he knew, but they all brag about, oh yeah, I knew she was young, about whatever.
Mrs. Morton also saying that she said that she was 19. So I judged her on her consciousness to even allow her to even come in the same environment. It must have been something I said, or must have been something that I've done to make her assume that she couldn't be around me and say that she was 14. So that's why she had to lie about her age. What she also failed to bring up was the case with the domestic violence and the other pandering and the
Let me pause that. Let me give it some more volume.
so-called alleged victims in this case are of age, 19, 23, 22. I don't mess with kids. I'm not a sex offender. I don't mess with children. That's number one. As far as the pandering goes, the definition according to the state was to entice a woman to become a prostitute or get into a continuity of it. I didn't either. She said up there and she said when they asked her, first of all, they had an interview with no parent, no guard, and no lawyer there, so they were able to basically coach the girl all throughout 3 interviews with her, which everything is.
She was a minor, so she gets coaching, dude.
Contrary one to another. And they asked her, they said, well, what did he say to entice you to get into prostitution? He really didn't say anything. And what she also failed to bring up was that Mrs. Jordan has been engaged in prostitution, or at least she professed that she had, since the age of 12 years old. So if she's been prostituting since the age of 12 years old, then she's already an actress. That's what she does. She's a manipulator. She lied to me. And as far as the living of the earnings of prostitution, she professes that she gave the money to Mrs. Harper Mrs. Harper says that she gave the money to Mrs. Morton. Mrs. Morton says that I wasn't a pimp, and she never gave me any money. So the money never even made it to my hand. You understand? The reason why I pled guilty to this is because since I've been incarcerated, I've been able to see other inmates go to trial and get broke off, lose, and stay in prison for the rest of the, they all talking this appeal talk, and from me looking in, I don't think it's going to transpire. I don't see it happen. So I just thought.
Welcome, Feisty Latina. Welcome, Wrecker. Welcome, Ellen. Ellen, what's your question? Welcome on the stage, New Diamond. How you doing tonight?
Well, truthfully, I'm high as hell. Oh yeah, I'm
Well,
just
I have one point to make right now, and I have to make the point right now, which is, pimping ain't easy.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. It seems pretty easy to me because I'm always saying black men seem to be winning in that department because there's so many mammies out here, and some of them just not even mammies. They just got low self-esteem. They don't know
Mm-hmm.
their value as a woman,
Right.
and uh, and so and they. I mean, I've literally myself lost black women friends because I was trying to force them to, well, they always start off listening to what I have to say because they agree because they all have stories. They all have bad experiences, so they can relate. They can tell story. Oh yeah, they got 1,000 stories to tell about their bad experiences with a few black men in their life. and but as I'm sharing content, Cynthia G content, people content, you know, they get mad, they get angry, and then all of a sudden they calling me all kind of names and calling me toxic and I'm like, no, the guy that you told me about that trashed your house, that's the toxic one. That's the toxic one.
True.
That's the toxic one, not me. I'm trying to get you to see that it's a whole lot of toxic ones out here. That it's not you. Your own. I had one friend was a lesbian actually, but she had a sex at one time with a man, and she had a baby. But that grew up to be a demon, and she's the one told me the story about her own son, her own father that was a preacher. She told me these stories, her own experiences, but then she blew up at me one day because I sent her something. It was something that, how I share stuff. So I was sharing stuff, and then she just got mad and everything. So that's why I said I had to start backing away. You know what I'm saying? Because and not that she started threatening. She started making threats to me, talking about she knows niggas here in LA, and I I mean. She lives in Vegas. She's like, I know niggas in LA. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, what? All because I sent you some Cynthia G content? You know what I'm saying? And so, so I have just learned and I'm learning, what I'm saying? Just like I think, who was it? Was it Mistress Newbie or was it Indiana Mom that said just now to me in the chat? She said, you can't save every black woman. So,
True.
And that's just a fact. You can't, so you speak it, sow the seed. And, and that goes for other women too in my life of different kind. Same thing. If that's what you want, the right now we got technology, we have social media. It's being exposed every day. You have no excuse from your own personal experiences and also social media telling you story after story after story of black femicide, story after story of infidelity, story after story, and you're still making excuses to want to stay with them, and you making threats to kill me.
Right.
Okay.
That's what you call super lost.
Yes, but I'm excited because tomorrow I'm going to be. I got to wake up early, and they're picking me up. I'm going to be doing a documentary film here in LA, but it's from a group from Philadelphia on my community, And but of it's a special thing though. But I can't tell too much about it. But it's just a personal conversation with old women like me.
I hear that.
and
Okay.
and
Sound like it's
then
pretty good.
yeah, and then the next week I've been invited. I was invited to the Grammys, but I told them I didn't want to come to that because I didn't want to be around certain people. I have a person I call my son, and he's a music artist too, independent too, but he's already met like Offset, all kinds of people. But anyway, but he did get me a ticket plus one to go to a after Grammy party. Fox Soul is sponsoring it. T.S. Madison is part of it, and a
Oh,
few
cool.
other celebrities going to be part of it. So that'll be next Saturday, though, the February the 3rd, though. So I'm excited about both of those things.
Right
So
on.
let the dust be the dust.
Straight up. In fact, let me dig into another dusty situation.
Well, the judge charged with sentencing a man who pleaded guilty to child sex trafficking called his crimes horrific, but she also said she was struggling over what the right sentence should be. Fox 26's Dominic Keith live at the federal courthouse where Arian Jackson was just sentenced to nearly 30 years in prison. Dominic.
Yeah, the judge could have sentenced him to life, but she chose to sentence him to 27 years behind bars. Now, Arian Jackson, according to court testimony, kept 12 girls and women in a Houston house and trafficked them for sex, forcing them to earn $1,000 a day using drugs, threats, and beatings, according to the judge, to force.
Isn't that something? That's that Filmo Slim to the T.
The women and girls to comply. Now, Jackson cried today in the courtroom as he apologized to his victims, their families, and he told the judge, quote, "I never had a chance in life," and he asked the judge for mercy.
Oh my God.
Mm-mm.
He could have worked at Starbucks. That's a chance. Jeez. Man.
This is terrible. Houston, we have a problem, and they're selling our children.
He's now sentenced to 27 years in prison after previously pleading guilty to sex trafficking minors with force, fraud, or coercion. One of 24-year-old Arian Jackson's victims was 15-year-old Kristen Galvan, who went missing back in January 2020, and she still hasn't been found.
I don't know where she is.
That's not a good. That is not a good sign.
There's been no new leads on her.
As far as my knowledge is, he doesn't know where she is. And if he did and she told me, I definitely would tell her family. I definitely would.
Jackson asked the judge for leniency because of his childhood. His father, Stephen Jackson, admits his son's upbringing was troubling, with parents in and out of prison. And according to the judge, Jackson's mom was a prostitute who was addicted to drugs.
Wait a minute. Let me go back here for a minute. Something. Alexa, stop for 1 minute. Alexa, stop.
His son's upbringing was troubling, with parents in and out of prison. And according to
Wait a minute. I thought he's the parent. Wait, who was he?
There's been no new leads on her.
As far as my knowledge is, he doesn't know where she is. And if he did,
Okay, he's Stephen Jackson and Arian Jackson's dad, right? Am I reading this right? Now,
I think so.
Okay, so he said that Arian Jackson, who's the guy who was committing the sex trafficking, had a hard time with parenting, but he's a parent. Why is he talking about himself in third person? I don't get it.
Tell her family. I definitely would.
Jackson asked the judge for leniency because of his childhood. His father, Stephen Jackson, admits his son's upbringing was troubling, with parents in and out of prison. And according to the judge,
With parents in and out of prison, that means him too. See,
Jackson's mom was a prostitute who was addicted to drugs. Jackson's father says he now won't see his son for nearly 30 years.
It's very emotional because I don't visit jails because I've been there too many times.
I mean, we've all come from different childhoods. You can't use that as an excuse. You don't mess with children, period.
Bars.
You don't sell children.
I just want to say to the family that my heart goes out to you. Me and my wife, we pray for you guys, and we wish that your daughter come back to you, and I just thank God that my son didn't get life behind this.
Now, the prosecutor says even while in
Well, if that young lady that turns up gone, passed away, he might get life. He can be charged again.
Harris County Jail, according to the prosecutor, Arian Jackson was still smuggling cell phones and drugs into the jail and still trafficking women from inside the jail.
Isn't that something?
Yeah. I mean, but I know that's true. I know, you know,
Man,
they do a lot of stuff from within the prison, you know. I
I
don't know why
thought
people act like they go to prison and I
right.
mean, they have podcasts from prison now.
Yeah,
So,
they sure
you
do. They sure do.
know,
I mean, the
so
thing is this. Look, for like tax evasion, shit like that. I don't care what they do. But if these dudes do all this crime and shit, they shouldn't be anywhere near any kind of communication device because they're still poisoning, they're still infecting the community. Social media is a very easy way to infect the media, the media. The community. Hey, that's a new word. I just made up a new word, comedia, which is a mix between the community and the media.
it sounds like chlamydia. That's what it
uh, man. But look, he really thought he was that's the funny thing is that when these guys come up on a judge, they that the I swear, they always get what they don't want. They should have learned, they should have known better. If you're in front of a judge, then it's too late. You've already, it's already been they basically made a decision already.
Yeah. Well, what you got to understand, though, people understand about I grew up rough. I have quite a story, but I was around certain people, though it was rough, but I had attorneys and, legal people. My godmother was a paralegal, you know what I'm saying? So, but, it's a prison system, it's part of the game itself. So you may be locking up away, you know what I'm saying, so-called, criminals from society, that whatever. But there's still people out there that's still using those same criminals because of their expertise in the crime they got locked up for to operate. And they give them deals and work with them. And you got outside people, judges, attorneys, everybody that's all in the game, the
Yeah.
the money game. And so also that's why you see some of them just let some of these heinous, like murderous criminals just out. You say, how did, and then they commit another murder. Okay. And they know that the self-hate in the black race is what it is. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to
Right.
us specifically. So they let them out. They go, and who's gonna welcome them home? That same black family that's being the mammy family. Oh, it's throwing a party. Welcome the murderer home. You know what I'm saying? Thank the Lord you sent the murderer back home. You know what I'm saying? And then he goes out and murders some. It's all part of a toxic game. And our so-called people, don't see it. They're letting us play our own damn self while they're winning still.
Yeah, that is so true. I'd like to wish Ellen a nice evening. Yep, it's 5 p.m. Its work is done. But this is crazy though. I mean, the thing is this is that that saying pimping ain't easy. It's because pimps are never happy. They never have enough. And it really is the same in the manosphere. They never have enough. These men are just basically Kevin Samuels was a pimp training other men to be pimps. Because if men wanted to be loving husbands, Kevin Samuels would irritate them. It's that simple.
Yeah, they run from
Police are
that.
also searching for a man accused of sex trafficking by luring teens on social media. Ty Miller was released from jail on bond, and then DNA tied him to a separate sexual assault case. Now,
Oh my God. See?
wants him back behind bars with no bond. ABC 13's Brooke Taylor live at the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office.
And then they would say, wow, no bond. Wow, they want to keep her brother down. Let me tell you something that all black men should know, and black women. When you might think that when the justice system is hard on black men, right? That it's damaging the community. But when you think about it, they're usually taking men that have been damaging our community out of the community. Okay. So, I mean, before I used to get mad about, oh, yeah, the man's doing this, the man's doing that. But then after a while, I thought about it and said, wait a minute. Okay, so you are thinking the man is keeping you down, but you just committed assault. And now you're, a pimp. But you feel like you should be out on the street. And then I understood that's what it is. They don't have a lot of these men who say that phrase, oh, they keep a brother down, they don't have any empathy. They're thinking about themselves. They're talking about themselves. They're not talking about men in general. They might hide it behind that, but they're not thinking about that. They're thinking about, you need to let me out so I can keep doing what I was doing that put me in here. And you're keeping me down. That's what they're thinking. Welcome, Tev.
Right. What's good?
What's on your mind tonight? What's going on?
I was seeing somebody live on TikTok, and they had mentioned that it was a passport bro. I'm assuming they might have been black, but I heard they was saying somebody had unalived 3 women overseas, and this was a black woman from Colombia. She said they're wreaking havoc in those countries too.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And we already know they creating single baby mamas in those countries. That's one thing. That guy who I was debating in the chat yesterday, that's one thing he failed to acknowledge when he was saying black men. When black men go to other communities, they're doing the same things in those communities, if not worse.
True. They will do as much as the law will allow them to do. And the laws in the other locations are obviously not as how should we put it? Stringent. And that's probably why they go. They know they can get away with more there. I think maybe that's why passport bros are passport bros, because they have the propensity for violence and crime. And, the United States is kind of like, not the easiest place to stay out of jail in. And so off they go.
Oh, they're getting jailed overseas too.
Wow.
Colombia is one of those. It's not a good place to do all that the XEX tourism they be doing. Don't I realize how reckless Colombia is? All the cartels and all that stuff down there.
Tevin, do you think that the reason why Colombia changed their laws in some of the cities as far as no prostitution is because of the passport bros, or do you think they were getting around to do that anyway?
Probably, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's a trip. But it's crazy. Let me play a little bit more. Let's see.
On this case, Brooke.
Deputies say that Ty Miller used social media to try and find minors. In the case that he's charged with, they say that he found a 15-year-old girl through Snapchat through a friend of hers at school, and that's how they started talking before deputies say he sexually assaulted her. The Montgomery County Sheriff's Office asking for your help getting 20-year-old Ty Miller back behind bars. In August of 2021, Miller was charged with trafficking of a child. His bond set at $50,000. Court records reveal Miller met a 15-year-old girl online. That 15-year-old tells police that Miller ordered her an Uber to his home where they had sexual intercourse. She saw a flash, realizing he was recording on her cell phone. Records state he told the teen his friend was minutes away. She says she had sexual intercourse with both of them as one watched. Miller's DNA entered into a database after he was charged, and while out on bond, his DNA was a match in a separate case involving the sexual assault of another minor. Charges haven't been formally filed in that case, but it was enough for a judge to revoke his bond, and there's now a warrant out for his arrest. Miller's Snapchat and phone records trace back to an address revealed in court documents. We stopped by, Miller's mom's ex-boyfriend telling us he no longer lives there. He's wanted right now for sex trafficking of a child. Did you hear about that?
No, I know he's doing something in court, but no.
Oh my God. He knows he's doing something in court, but he doesn't. Oh, that's crazy.
Pretty serious charge there. Are you shocked by that, or?
Yeah, that is pretty crazy.
If you know of anyone contacted by Miller on social media or know where he is, you are asked to call the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office.
No, nobody's going to snitch on him. I bet somebody in the manosphere knows who he is. They won't snitch on him. Nope. They won't want to clean up the streets. Not a bit. Not a bit. That is just crazy. Welcome. Why is Seeking Knowledge in the house? Why is Seeking Knowledge? One more, fellas. One more, ladies. Here we go. See,
to Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
That's what Kevin Samuels was teaching these guys to do, is to pimp women. He did it in code. He used an elaborate, very well-defined system or way to hide it. But where it got a little bit weird was when he was supposed to be giving relationship advice, but then bragged about having a rotation of 6 women. Who has rotations of 6 women? Pimps. I bet it's going to come out sooner or later that he was a pimp. I guarantee you. He talked about, oh yeah, you guys are, the black women are ruining the community, and oh, they don't even know how about family matters. Well, dude, you was married twice and you're not. And then you have a rotation of 6 women. Well, what does that say?
And I heard Kevin Samuels had a boyfriend who's also in the manosphere, but they never want to talk about that.
No, not a bit. What, the lawyer, right?
Yeah, him.
Yeah.
The one who slipped and said Kevin Samuels was his boyfriend.
Yep.
He tried to backtrack after he said it.
There's no backtracking that. We already know. We can tell by the way he is and both of them are. They see women as objects. They love each other. They see women as objects. Here we go. Let me turn this down a little bit. It's a little bit loud. What the hell? They're cheering for this dude. Wait. Let me bring it way down. Okay.
Oh, Lord, not Jerry Springer.
Look at that. Look at
It be
that.
ratchets of all races on that. It was ratchets of all races on this show.
I know. That's
R.I.P. to Jerry
crazy.
Springer, though.
What's your first number gonna be?
What's my first number, right?
Welcome to the show.
All right, Jerry.
And the three women you.
Pimping and prostitution, you know, that's a universal hustle right there. And it's been going on for centuries. And when you talk about pimping, man, the pimp culture, Milwaukee has been considered one of the places where people are really able to thrive. Some have even called Milwaukee the Harvard of pimp school. So in other words, it's a prestigious place that you can come to get your game right and, you know, make money off of pimping.
These prostitutes are working the streets of Milwaukee, a growing hub for sex trafficking. 2/3 of the pimps arrested in a nationwide FBI sting 2 years ago.
The Rat Girl breaks it down like this. You can take the plantation buck out of the city, but you can't take the plantation buck out of the bandit. Bars.
Were from Wisconsin.
End up getting in. How did Milwaukee end up becoming kind of this hotbed for sex trafficking?
There is a lot of economic disparity in Milwaukee, and the unemployment rate is also very high. And some say that's the reason, because sex trafficking can provide a means of survival for pimps and for their victims. But law enforcement officials that I spoke to, they say that it is such a problem in Milwaukee because of the nature of pimp culture there. It is so embedded and sophisticated and organized. In fact,
and when you talk about Milwaukee and talk about Wisconsin and you talk about the pimp culture, Derek Avery, aka Pimp Snooki, is somebody who stands out.
Chopping that shit up, man, at that first international players convention, man. You know what I'm saying? Doing that shit in a major motherfucking way, man. You know what I'm talking about? Charging this motherfucking shit to a hoe, you know what I'm talking about, man? I don't believe that shit. You know, you got Pimp Snooki out there. International known, look, accepted and motherfucking respected. National on ass, definitely motherfucking cash. And guess what? I got a little secret to tell y'all. I ain't no motherfucking actor. It ain't no motherfucking entertainment around this motherfucker. Cost of living, price of motherfucking pussy, man. You know what I'm talking about, man? I'm Monty around this motherfucker. You understand what I'm talking about? I believe in cash and motherfucking carry. You understand what I'm talking about? Pimping around this bitch.
Just a little background on him. From what I understand, he actually jumped into the game officially around the late 80s, early 90s. He was dealing with, you know, strippers and just different women who would give him money and gravitate to him because he had a likable character, you know, and just a charisma and persona about him. And a stripper that he was dealing with ended up breaking him off like $1,500. And from there, he never looked back.
Nice to meet you. Welcome to the family. Welcome to the family. Okay, well, to start this out, you know what I'm saying? We have rules and regulations that we have to stand by to be with him. And the basic rules and regulations of his program is you say yes and no. You call him daddy at all times. You walk behind him and, you know, open doors and stuff for him. Wait for him to get out the car before you get out the car. And you don't look at no players, no niggas whatsoever. You have to respect him at all times because he puts his hoes on.
Do y'all hear this shit? My God. Welcome, Natural Kish in the house. I can't believe this. Damn.
Those, you know what I'm saying? So he treats us like queens, so we got to treat him like a king. Never show no weakness to no hoe, never lie. You know, always keep it real. Never, don't steal. You know, I'm telling you from my mistakes. You know? So, you know, always keep it real, you know. Because he don't lie, he don't cheat, he give it to you in the raw. Right. With everything. Right. And if you have a problem with anything, you best believe he can solve it for you. Because every problem I had, family, health, whatever, it was solved. You know what I'm saying? So,
man, I mean, if this is like how I feel about some brothers where they're just so far gone, there's just nothing you can do. There's just nothing you can do. And I feel the same about these women here. They're just, I mean, this is just crazy. Why Seeking Knowledge says this, my town, y'all, such a source of shame. but there are some real wholesome black people they hear, but you won't hear about them. That is, man, I mean, yeah, because because pimping ain't easy. Pimping ain't easy. And because of that, the pimps get all the attention while the good black folk don't. It's that simple. And it's writing it's writing that hip hop to me in many ways empowered pimping. Let's just put it that way. Mistress Newbie breaks it down like this. Like Indiana Mom said, we can't save all of them. And that is so true. These ladies right here, they're gone. There's nothing, rest in peace. Really, when you think about it.
Ain't nothing. You know how people say shit's not, it's impossible? It's no such thing with him. Isn't it, Kay? He solves every problem.
He actually had as many as 16
That's
women.
exactly how the Manosphere men want the women to believe to behave like. They you know what's weird? Manosphere men want their women to be submissive like pros. They just don't want to call them pros. That's what they want. It's Tanya Sweet in the house. Here we go.
Amen.
Tanya Sweet says this: charisma is not the word I would use for this individual, FIR for this individual, and BW ruined the community. My left foot. I'm not sure what that said. Here we go.
In his quote unquote stable at one time, going out there and bringing them money. I'm talking about New Orleans making money, Chicago, Las Vegas, as well as, Milwaukee, etc. So he was able to really establish a money making prostitution ring, in so many words, that, he thrived off.
See, pimps thrived off of the snitch culture or lack thereof. Otherwise, they'd be in prison right now. Why Seeking Knowledge breaks it down like this. 53206 zip code here has the highest incarceration rate in the world. Man. I mean, for silly phone taken out by dust. Okay, let me reread this one. Charisma is not a word I would use for this individual. And black women ruined the community, my left foot.
And what's crazy?
Wait, let me pause this real quick.
Off of for years.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
What's crazy? The black manosphere, they get mad when black women don't coddle those men, those kind of black men.
Exactly. I mean, they
think it's
embolden.
black male bashing when black women ain't coddling them.
You're right. They embolden degeneracy of all types. We'll be going over that tomorrow as well.
And he didn't just focus solely on pimping. He was a real entrepreneur. He opened up a nightclub. He had a real estate investment company, a record label, and the list goes on and on. So, at his core, he's a businessman. He just chose pimping to be his main profession.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for every day in hot pursuit.
So he had a choice. He had a choice to be legit, but he chose to be a criminal. That tells you everything it tells you how far we have to go. Let's put it that way. The Rat Girl says this: black men are not interested in doing anything that shows manhood. Bars. They are happy in their public degeneracy and abuse of women. Bars. They don't care. Fellas, how is that the argument? How is that to argue? This man right here that you see on the screen, okay, right here, he had the opportunity to do something good with his life. He didn't.
Up a nightclub. He had a real estate investment company, a record label, and the list goes on and on. So, you know, at his core, he's a businessman. You know, he just chose pimping to be his main profession.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Every day in hot pursuit for a new prostitute. Either she gonna be a looker or a hooker, one or the other. You know, some of them give it away. You know, I like the ones that sell it. I like the ones that give it away too, because then you can always convince them to sell it. So it works both ways. But I'm trying to find me something now. I'm feeling. I'm in the heat of the moment now.
You know, that's funny. Yeah, when I go to the Manosphere, I don't see any of them dissing pimps. Not a one.
Oh, they ain't because they look up to him.
Yep. And pimps are criminals, so by definition, they look up the criminals. That's weird.
As always.
I'm gonna play a little bit more. Here we go.
You know, with that whole pimp lifestyle, it's glamorized a lot, especially in like the hip hop and just urban culture. But it's not always what it's cracked up to be, and it's a dark side associated with that. You know, if you just look at just the different cases of pimps around the nation being prosecuted, normally, you know, during those investigations, law enforcement is able to discover, you know, like the real deep inside of that, what's going on as far as like when it comes to, you know, disciplining your hoes.
Isn't. To put it in perspective, Milwaukee police have identified more than 200 pimps. Those are pimps who have had some kind of contact with law enforcement. And every girl can generate about $500,000 a year for any given pimp. And most pimps have 4 to 6 women or girls in their so-called stable. So pimps far outnumber.
Oh, so yeah. Kevin Samuels was pimping them girls. He had 6, right? In rotation, right? They were probably bringing them money. I guarantee you that shit's going to come out. He can't help it. He pimps in his blood. It's in his blood, in my opinion. Tanya breaks it down like this. How are these women being pimped out by DNA challenged looking men? Yep. The woman's self-esteem must be lower than dirt. Why Seek of Knowledge breaks it down like this. Yes, it is, Tanya Sweet. The incarceration and flaming GAYs here leave slim pickings. Oh, man. And they flock at all costs. It's sad. Man. Rat girl, for black men, degeneracy is not a choice. It's a rite of passage. Oh, man. Man. Here we go. Manosphere guys. There it is. Act natural under
Police,
pressure.
and they have a lot more resources too. Oh, absolutely.
Pimp Snooki. He was able to, you know, pimp successfully for approximately 2 decades or a little under 2 decades before he really got on the radar of law enforcement. He actually
Act natural under pressure. Welcome. The playback gang in the house.
took his whole operation from Milwaukee to Las Vegas. And while he was out in Las Vegas, he actually tried to recruit this prostitute who was an undercover officer, you know, and that really kind of started his downfall. So when he initially got on,
Yeah, Vegas, I can tell you many times, they don't mess around here. You bring some criminal shit here, you're going to get caught.
on the radar of law enforcement in Las Vegas, I think that was sometime around 07. So if you fast forward a couple of years later, in 2009, he was indicted, you know, on 14 different charges, you know, by the feds. And the charges range from, you know, conspiracy to commit sex trafficking to multiple counts of trafficking a child, as well as multiple counts, you know, of transporting a child to engage in prostitution. You know, after the indictment, you know, he initially decided to fight it, but you know, law enforcement really started revealing the dark part of his operation, as far as like him beating his women with allegedly with pans and brooms and, you know, different types of objects, putting telephone books on their backs and hitting them with baseball bats and, you know, this quote unquote hot or cold treatment. I read that in one of the court documents on the case. If one of his ladies got out of line or they didn't meet a quota or whatever the case may be, he had either the hot or cold treatment for them, and they had to pick between the two. The hot treatment was him, rubbing alcohol on their skin, taking a match and lighting the skin on fire. And the cold treatment was allegedly him filling a tub up with ice and making a prostitute sit while a cigarette burned, and they had to sit in there until the cigarette burned all the way down. So, it's serious, man. It was serious. So they highlighting all this different stuff in court. So he decided to take a plea deal. In November of 2011, Snooki reportedly pleaded guilty to one count of conspiracy to commit sex trafficking, as well as one count of sex trafficking a child. And a few months later, in April of 2012, I believe it was actually on Friday the 13th, he was sentenced, to 20 years in federal prison.
The man known as Pimp Snooki is headed to federal prison for decades. Derek Avery, seen in this 1999 movie, was sentenced to 20 years in prison Friday in federal court in Milwaukee. Avery prostituted scores of women and girls in cities all the way from Milwaukee to Vegas for at least 16 years, some of those girls as young as 14.
Something else, man, I want to point out, is that Snooki,
I'm so glad they put him away.
Back in 1997, according to court documents, got picked up for this weapons charge. He was indicted on a weapons case, and to avoid punishment, he allegedly decided to become a confidential informant for the FBI. I've read in some documents that they actually tried to use that as some type of support during this case with the feds, on the sex trafficking crimes, etc. But that's interesting too, man. That's interesting. Unfortunate, if that's the case, because, that goes against the code that quote unquote street people live by. But something else interesting to point out is that Snooki, man,
when will we realize that the code of the streets or not snitching hasn't worked out in our community? Or should we look at the community and the streets as two different entities? Maybe that's what it is. That's weird. Natural Kish breaks it down like this. At the core, he's a male, not a businessman. He has no morals, integrity, humanity, empty. Just another predator using vulnerable women for a come up. Weak. Tanya Sweat breaks it down like this. The trafficking has increased in Dallas lately. There was a story about a young girl got taken while attending a concert and luckily was found 3 weeks later. Damn. That's aggressive. Man.
he had kids with a lot of his prostitutes. So they weren't just his workers, they was the mothers of his children. He revealed in a recent interview that he has as many as 24 biological kids.
Holy shit. What? Man. Here's the weird argument is a lot of black men will say, well, there's a lot of good black men in the community. Okay, well, why aren't they getting rid of these pimp snookies then? If good black men, and if we outnumber the other black men, then it should be easy, right? We should be able to outnumber them and corner them and send them off to the police to be put in jail so that they don't damage our community. But that's not what's happening. I'd like to know why.
As many as 28 that he claims, But, a case like Snooki's, man, it shows you that it's not always what it seems when it comes to something as intriguing as the pimp culture. It can cause a lot of hurt. It can cost you your freedom. But yeah, man, I just want to put some up on them. Hope y'all enjoyed the content, man. If you're messing with the video, make sure to hit the like button. If you're not already,
I think I will. I hit that like button. That's Pimp Snooki, everybody. All right. Any last words from you, Tev? Any words, thoughts, feelings? What do you think? All right.
I don't have any last words right now. I guess that's it.
I gotta get it. I got some things I gotta do. Everybody, I want you to have a great Friday night. I'm gonna kick the beat. Here we go.
Money work.
All right.
El mundo quiere dinero.
In the house, natural under pressure.
Money work.
New Diamond.
Se arregla con dinero.
Natural Kish.
Money work.
Rap
Si me
Girl,
quiero
the Rap Girl.
dormir en algún lugar.
Why is seeking knowledge?
Un lugar para trabajar. Y si no hay, pues emigrar. Todo money, money, todo el dinero. Solo un par de gente se lleva el botín entero. Funny, funny, pasa verdadero. Si tienes lo verde siempre llegará primero. Pero llegaremos antes o después. Solo a lo suyo, que Dios te lo ve. Que por más que tarde lo veré caer. Somos más lo bueno y tenemos fe. El dinero ya lo veré. Yo vendo mi alma, lo lograré. Seré el más grande, no olvidaré de dónde vengo ni cómo voy. Money work. El mundo quiere dinero. Money work.
Ellen Ripley.
Se arregla con dinero.
Con
dinero.
Indiana Mom.
Money work. Yo digo las cosas como son. No quiero ninguna aceptación. Tampoco vengo a pedir perdón porque mis sentimientos se volvieron la canción. Yeah. No me vale mucho como tú me ves. Sabes, tú me llegas solo a los pies. Para mí ser grande es un interés. Ser un buen humano para mí es un deber. El dinero ya lo veré. No vendo mi alma, lo lograré. Seré el más grande, no olvidaré de dónde vengo ni cómo voy. Money work.
Susie Bear, 33.
El mundo quiere dinero.
Marcy Dean.
Money work.
Hustler and
Se arregla
Muffler.
con dinero. Money work. Corazón, de corazón. La plata no te hace ser feliz. Yeah, de corazón, de corazón. La plata no te hace ser feliz. Money work.
Dizzy B.
El mundo quiere dinero. Yeah, 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 yeah. Money work. Money work. Money work. Money work. Se arregla con dinero.
Negro.
Money work.
Everyone have a cool night. Check you on the next one tomorrow.
Lunatic.